right. Hello, everyone. My name is Griselda. A very warm welcome back to Workshop Wednesday at Mentor Me Collective. Please feel free to let us know where you're chiming in from. Um, super excited. Keep the energy up. Ask questions as we get along. So we're blasting off into our brand new August theme, into the Spatial-verse, where we will explore the groundbreaking world of augmented reality, virtual reality, and extended reality. For those who are new to Mentor Me Collective, we are a community dedicated to empowering individuals, especially first-generation techies, with the knowledge and skills, as well as tools they need to succeed in their tech careers, while also highlighting the positive impact technology can have on our lives and communities. And specifically today, we're going to be talking and taking a deep dive into designing VisionOS apps for Vision Pro. With Apple's entry into spatial computing, understanding how to design intuitive and immersive applications for devices like Vision Pro is it's a frontier for innovation and skill that is becoming increasingly sought after. It's a really cool skill too. Vision OS represents a paradigm shift on how we interact with digital content, blending it seamlessly with our physical world. We've seen some crazy things out there, and I'm sure we're going to keep seeing more. This session will explore the unique principles and considerations involved in crafting compelling user experiences for spatial computing, paving the way for the next generation of applications. And hopefully that we see you guys in there creating these fantastic things. So now let me introduce our exceptional speaker, John John Rodrigues. I'm just going to bring up on stage. John is a highly experienced UX UI designer and spatial computing specialist with a proven track record of creating innovative and user-friendly interfaces across various platforms. Um, This involves having a keen eye for detail, a passion for emerging technologies. John has been at the forefront of exploring the design challenges and opportunities presented by Vision OS and devices like Apple Vision Pro. He is dedicated to pushing the boundaries of user experience in spatial computing, in the computing realm, and sharing his expertise with others, navigating this exciting new frontier. Now, John, before we delve into this vital topic, let's break the ice a little bit with a question. If designing for spatial computing was a kind of artistic medium, what traditional art form would it be most similar to, and why? Give us your opinion here.
Okay, yeah, thank you for having me and for the warm introduction. Let me understand the question. So something connects to the traditional art, what would the Vision Pro would connect it to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if designing for spatial computing
Yeah.
was an artistic medium, so painting,
Mm, mm, mm.
molding, that kind of thing, what
Yeah.
traditional art form would it be most similar to, and why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is the graffiti that you see on the walls, and it's like represent like a culture, but there's a lot of like talent goes behind making that. But what if someone don't have the talent but has a story? I think the Apple Vision Pro and like spatial computing could like project those art, and you could like create that art on the walls and tell a story even if you're a not artist. I think
Yeah.
that's something I would like. A traditional I connect with like spatial computing, and many artists are actually doing it, but I think I would be curious to explore how a non-artist can do and still tell a story here.
I think that's really cool. It's a cool way to tell a story of depth, especially like looking at graffiti on walls. Sometimes it's two-dimensional, but sometimes you can see that depth that an artist can add. But when
Hmm.
it comes to spatial computing and that kind of aspect, I think we can push it, right?
Yeah.
So I am curious. Let's hear from the audience. What is one feature or experience you're most excited about seeing developed for spatial computing devices like Vision Pro? Share your thoughts in the chat. Where's a few people here and there. All right. John, we are so eager to hear your insights. Please share your screen and guide us through the fascinating world of designing Vision Pro, Vision OS apps for Vision Pro.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry,
Mhm.
a tongue twister there.
Yeah, let me share my screen. So, okay, you see my screen?
All right, I'll put it on over to you. I'm gonna take myself off the stage, and you can take over. Okay?
Okay, can you see my screen before you?
I'm gonna put it up in just
Okay,
a moment.
okay, sounds good. Okay.
Right there, and good to go.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me and this warm introduction. And the question definitely triggered a lot of ideas in me already. I can imagine a 3D art floating around the city where it tells a story, and that's the beauty about spatial computing. And I see it as a medium of storytelling, and I'm super excited to share. And already loved all the chat. Thank you everyone for recognizing or on the compliments already. I didn't even start. And just before we started to, I used to be like the OG mentor, not mentor, mentee on the Mentor Me Collective and channel, and I met a long time back, and then I'm here to speak. So it's a full circle moment, like we always call it, and super excited to share here what goes into designing the Vision Vision OS and the experience for Apple Vision Pro. I know this is not a topic that's often spoken about. Usually it's, a bit of like technical, but today I'm going to share the experience side of things and also share about the importance of like storytelling and things like that. So today's workshop has this three parts. First part is it's going to be 1 hour session, so we're going to have 30 minutes of this test session where I'm going to walk through, and 10 minutes I'm going to keep for like to share resources. And this is going to be, if not anything, you're going to walk away with a lot of helpful resources. And then 20 minutes we're going to have Q&A. So if you have any questions that you can ask that in the chat. I'll take that at the end. I'm not able to catch up with the comments for now, so I'll take everything at the end. So this is a structure for the workshop and the session today. We're gonna learn a little bit about what's covered in this workshop, a little bit of my journey, and about Apple Vision Pro, and the storytelling aspects of Apple designing for spatial computing, key design principles. That so this you kind of know what are the foundational design principles, and how can you prototype your ideas as a designer and somebody who has a vision for the product. How can you take that idea into something that you can demo? And then I'll walk you all through all the resources that I've curated for you all. So today's workshop is primarily going to be about design, prototyping, and storytelling. And I've collected all these insights by visiting to Apple Developer Center, a few insights that they shared, the research that I did, and keeping up with all the updates that Apple is publishing every day on Apple Vision Pro and through WWDC and everything. It's a curated resources. And I've personally been exploring some projects. So I'm going to share all the collective insight for you all so that you all have the foundation and the starting point when you all are designing for Apple Vision Pro. So that's a little bit about the workshop. And a little bit about me. So I'm a senior product designer. I'm currently working at JP Morgan Chase. I also have an independent AI design consulting studio called Human Inspired Studio, where I work on the innovative products. And then I'm also an author of the Substack publication called AI Design Playbook, where I experiment with a lot of AI tools, even for like spatial computing, how we can leverage AI, and share that in my playbook. My journey started as an engineer, and I started building products and nobody started using it. And I asked why. That led me to find design and realize how design is important for products to be adopted, to be understood, and augment human experience. Since then, I've been a designer for 10 years. I did my master's in interaction design. Then I've been working from startups to early stage startup to enterprise companies with millions of users, and kind of seen both sides of the world. But there's always the bug of innovation in me. So every company that I joined, I would like bring that innovative aspect or start a new project. Even at my JP Morgan, I'm part of the AR/VR Ignite group, where we are exploring the future of spatial computing and AI and stuff like that. One of my pivoting point is uh, in my master's, I worked in healthcare and explored how spatial computing can help people to understand the medical skills better before they go into the practicing the skills that they learned. So I created the simulation based learning. Yeah, lately I've been excited about AI and everything, and I'll definitely share how we can use AI in spatial computing as well. So we already learned a little bit about what Apple Vision Pro is, but I'll just give a quick introduction. It's Apple's spatial computing device where it's like a mixed reality. So as you guys know, there is virtual reality, mixed reality, and augmented reality. So here in the mixed reality, the digital objects are presented in a physical space, and you can interact with it. So this is you can think of it like a hand-free computer, right? You don't need to have all the screens and monitors, and it's there in front of you. It's an amazing experience without having that clunky hardware, and just having this anywhere you go, having that space and everything. So that's a little bit about Apple Vision Pro, and there's a lot of cool updates that happen in WWDC that happened recently about this widgets where you can pin and pivots widget. So you have like portals to the new world. So this imagination is the only limit. Imagine you could like create portal to another universe or another place that you like going or a vacation or things like that. So, the imagination is the only limit here. So it's also been highly adopted in industries where the visualization is very important. So like in automotive design and manufacturing, collaboration with other remote people, that you feel like they're present, and we humans, we communicate different through gesture, speech, facial expression. So the 2D will never give that level of dimension. So that's where spatial computing kind of brings that people together and help to visualize better with cost saving as well. So iterating with physical goods for automotive, it's so expensive. So the Apple Vision Pro kind of helps you visualize it. So this is one of the industry application, and also like a great design tool and a productivity tool. And then the Apple also has published a shared play experience where you can bring multiple people together and share and collaborate, and those experiences enabled through spatial computing. Gaming is one of the biggest adapter of the XR extended reality devices, the AR VR, and the recent integration of hardware and like digital world is blending that gap between the physical and the digital world, and it's very exciting for people who are designing the products, but also who are experiencing this product. So you can have your friend from another place come and play with you. So this stuff are very exciting. But there are two sides we can look at it. One is like being a consumer of this, but also here many people are developers, and engineers, and the designers, and even storytellers and artists. So the core part of spatial design is storytelling. That's the heart of designing spatial experiences. So here you can see by the UX collective has a storytelling method of what a story consists, and it has a beginning, middle, and the end. And in the beginning you kind of give users the context, get them feel comfortable, and then there's tension and there's a problem, and you as a user will like feel that resolution, and there's a conclusion to the story. That's where you feel more engaged, more excited about a story. And that's why we watch movies for like 2 hours, because it's the story that keeps you hooked with it. And this is very essential while designing for spatial computing. Sometimes you just put a headset and you see a 3D object, it's like there's nothing there for me, right? But if there's a story, especially in like the entertainment and stuff like that, storytelling becomes very essential. This is the foundation of building any experiences for spatial computing. So instead of looking at the graph, we can actually let's look into an experience that Apple Vision Pro currently has. And then we'll break down how the storytelling is applied here. Before we go into that breakdown, I also want to share a good design has a foundation of good design principles. These are all like psychological principles, right? So there's a field of view, ergonomics, familiarity, comfort, scale, sound design, focus on the attention, context awareness, and accessibility and stuff. All these factors, these principles, when they align together, that's where a good experience is created. User experience is not something abstract or vague. It is like, it is science of embedded in the user behavior and psychology to make a good experience. And as designers, you'll always need to think through these principles, also sometimes break the rules. And sometimes you can see some directors in the movie, they don't start from a beginning. They might start from the conclusion and go till the end. But when you're at early stage or just figuring out, like, it's good to kind of follow certain principles, and then we become an expert, you can break those principles. So in this session, this might be a lot to go through all these principles. I will share a video with you all which dives deeper into all these principles. But we can pick one or two, like field of view. Like if something that is not users will have specific area, things are visible to them. So it's important to bring that main UI in the field of view of the user, and keeping in mind the length, what is more accessible to them. Those things become very important. And then if you see Apple's UI, it feels very familiar to the iOS, the mobile, iPad, and everything. It's not random, it's intentional, because when you in spatial computing, spatial space, you can create like anything. A button could be a shape of anything. It could be a star, it could be a cloud, right? That could be a button too. But if you see, Apple kind of follows the similar pattern, because that people feel more familiar with it. You can break the pattern later, but understand what users are familiar with, and kind of like align that in the spatial experience. The scale plays a major role. When the things are smaller, people feel they are far from them. It's closer, you feel they are coming closer to you. People might feel scared and stuff like that. So when I was working in a healthcare project, we were exploring different use cases, and then we were thinking about like somebody in the wheelchair and stuff. Sometimes if something comes closer, you might like move your body suddenly, that might strain a person's body. So we need to think of that body ergonomics. So while designing spatial computing, I used to do a lot of body strumming and stuff for my thesis. So it's very important to understand the human ergonomics. So Apple recommends also more of like a sitting experience, where you can sit instead of like going and hitting yourself to the wall. You have seen videos, right? People hit the wall and stuff. So I think Apple is very recommendations, the design recommendations are to keep in mind the ergonomics, create that sitting experience so the users feel more comfortable and stuff. So there's a lot of factors. I'll share this video with you that I nerd out on the details of these principles, which is very easy to follow. So let's look into this video, and let's break down some of the storytelling principles here, right? So here you can see this is a experience of like a dinosaur coming into the picture, but it does not suddenly come into the picture. It gives a little bit of introduction, so it creates that spatial awareness where you are. So let's look into this. And also the important part, the principle is sound design. You can see now it's very calming music, but when somebody comes into the dinosaur comes, it starts creating that tension through sound. And those are like important factors. Sound design plays a major role, how users feel about the experience. So here you can see it starts with the small, a butterfly comes and sits on his finger. So it's kind of introducing, okay, it's like you are expecting more animals to come, so don't like kind of freak out. So let me just give you a small introduction. So now the user feels a little comfortable before the portal opens. So now this is sort of progressive disclosure. So instead of just showing the world and expecting animals to come, you are like progressively like opening. So now you can see, right, the sound comes first before the animal. It's part of sound design that you feel more familiar. Now, okay, thunder, there's something happening. So instead of the animal suddenly coming, it's what's happening here is the sound is coming first, so make you prepare for the stuff. So here you can see the experience introduces a small dinosaur instead of a big one, because people might feel scared when you see an animal, right? This is showing small and it's far. That's where the scale, we are using scale to create that feeling. And then
come to daddy.
And now and they're creating the continuity from the butterfly to that, and then introducing to the small dinosaur without feeling worried, and then getting users comfortable. So think of this as a story. It started with giving the context, and now it's building up the tension. You all have seen that graph, right? This is where the tension is building up, and the tension is not much here. It's like slowly progressing, right? But now suddenly there's a conflict in the story. There's a big dinosaur. Now this is where the peak, the user is feeling the most tensed. But you have slowly, progressively introduced. So now the user is a little comfortable to interact with it. So it's not like scaring them off. So that's creating an experience here. And then the dinosaur hears something. So that means it's not suddenly going, right? The story should not suddenly end. Then you'll be like, oh, that's a bad movie. But something is calling. So you're preparing the dinosaurs to like go back. Yeah. So the dinosaur kind of like goes back. So that creates a, and story that kind of keeps the users more engaged. So it's like, what's happening next? What's happening? So that makes us good spatial experience. So when you're designing, don't think about what's the feasibility of it as a designer. But it's very important. I'm a big advocate for like design engineers and stuff. But start with an experience where you are starting with the story. That's a big value that you bring to product development. And then in terms of tactical execution, you can, what resources do I have, John, to start creating this UI and stuff like that? The good thing about designing for Apple Vision Pro is like Apple has created a lot of getting started resources for you. So you don't have to do anything from scratch. You need to use the system level components and screens and stuff. So there's a kit by Apple. It's called VisionOS, UI kit, which you can get and use this for like storyboarding or mapping, and even designing the detailed UI experience and everything in a 2D format before you go into the 3D, because many designers are non-technical people might not have that skills, but this gives you like a starting point. And if you're a professional UX designer, you can leverage the screens to design those detailed experiences. But you definitely need some like 3D, tools, which I will show you all how you can prototype, and you can blend that with the 2D screens that you have designed. Again, you have tons of resources in Apple human interface guidelines, where you can keep in mind what are the key principles that you need to keep in mind, what you should do and what you should not do, what's recommended from a good design point of view. So you don't have to memorize this. I know many people designing for iOS feel like I need to memorize the human interface guideline. It's you don't have to, but whenever you design something, you feel stuck at your curiosity, go and search for that specific article and then apply that in your project. And design is an iterative process, so you can iterate when you start observing bad design patterns and everything. The one exciting part about designing for Apple Vision Pro is prototyping, and that's something that I am always excited and exploring for the best tools. So there are 4 tools recommendations I have. One is Scenery, and second one is Ordinary Object, and third one is Spline and Xcode. This is not often very spoken about, but I have met some of these people in the meetups and stuff, and they shared this tool with me, connected through LinkedIn and stuff like that. So designers might feel like going into the code a little bit more technical or harder, but tools like Scenery that lets you like prototype your experiences. So this is like a no code tool where it helps you create spatial experience and storytelling for bring stories to life through this tool. Here you can see you can also work in like your 2D interface like iPad or mobile and create augmented and vision OS experiences. And the best part is like creating these narratives, right? Like events and stuff, like if I click this happens and if I click other thing happen. So you're creating like a story and an experience, and then you don't have to code, and it's like a superpower designers have to create all these experiences which you can present to the leadership or to your users to get feedback, or for your portfolios, or work with the developers to explain the experience and things like that. Designing for spatial computing is interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary function where you work with developers, sound designers, artists, and stuff like that. So as a designer, you get to show this experiences and get feedback and collaborate effectively. This is one of the concept David did using scenery, where he created this kind of a story experience, like a dream kind of a story, and he didn't have to code this or anything, but able to prototype this experience and then share it. And you can see how the glow and sparkles are immersed in the space, right? It's not 2D. He's kind of leveraging 2D, but also creating that glow interactivity around the environment. So you're leveraging multidimensional space to make the storytelling more engaging. And when I worked on my thesis, I had found that immersive experience increases the engagement and retention in education. So there's a lot of benefits to it. The another tool is ordinary.space that also lets you create cross-functional platform prototypes and events. Like you can use different events and animations and stuff to show to create your spatial experience without having to code, which is very cool. Spline also has this feature of called a VisionOS mirror, where you can bring the 3D models that you made in the the spatial and their spline, and then bring it to the Vision Pro and test it out. One of my favorite tool is also Xcode. This is designers might not feel a little comfortable, but I'm telling you, Apple has made it very easy to get started and everything. So I would suggest learn a little bit of Shift UI. VisionOS is kind of built on that Shift UI framework, and you can quickly learn Shift UI and create the spatial experiences. You don't even have to have Vision Pro. You can just try it in the simulator and test it out and create these experiences and stuff. And good thing is I've created the tutorial for you to get started. So you're walking away with the end of the workshop with that tutorial to how to make your first VisionOS app. And because of AI, it's getting more easier to communicate your ideas better. So you can use Midjourney, Runway ML, and Apple Intelligence to kind of quickly create prototypes. So I created this. I wanted to create a virtual pet. So I use Runway ML to create this virtual pet. And then you can describe it and create that experience using AI tools like Runway ML or Midjourney or even ChatGPT. The recent WWDC update that Apple has the Apple Intelligence, the embedded with the Xcode. So now you can just prompt on the side. So this is not VisionOS, but for iOS, but you can prompt on the side and then it will create that experience. So you will be able to do that for the Vision Pro as well. If you're already a developer, it feels home to you, and Apple it has done it like an experience that is similar to iPad or VisionOS development. So it's easier to get started with. But I think as a designers, we should definitely do this using AI tools to communicate your vision. I had a pitch event at my company, JP Morgan, and I used AI tool to show different spatial experiences and stuff, because we had a short time to present that to the hackathon and stuff. So it goes a long way. Again, like I said, it's all about the story, and like AI is making it more and more easier to for us to prototype and design experiences and everything. So I also have Substack article called AI Design Playbook, where I share all this stuff. So I'll include this in the resources as well, which you can check out. So we got a weekly, resources on AI and how to use it. So these are the resources walkthrough. It's a final 20 minutes part, and then we'll go into the Q&A. I see a lot of good comments. Again, the first one is going to be the AI design playbook, where I have write all the articles here, so you can read about the AI and what's changing. And then I also written article on Apple Vision Pro, so you can read those as well, and what it takes to design an Apple Vision Pro, Apple design for VisionOS. So this is an article where you can also go ahead and read. I wrote down my experience from the Apple developer event and everything, so you can take a look and go through those articles. And then, like I shared, human interface guidelines is go-to design guidelines for you to keep in mind. Again, you don't have to memorize it, but when you are stuck or use want reference, just leverage this. And meeting this guidelines will also makes it easier for you to get approved for the App Store and everything. I've also created this video for you all. I've created in the past, where I dive deeper into. This is done for Android XR, but the similar principle are universal for spatial design as well. I've go deeper into explaining the spatial design principles and diving deeper into this each aspects of scale and how it impacts and stuff like that. And then another resource is, okay, if you're very curious, how do I even get started? Is that something that you're excited about? I've created this build your first Apple Vision Pro app introduction video. You can take a look at it and create like your first one without much setup or not even having the Apple Vision Pro. Yeah, you can get the Scenery app. Somebody asked if it's free. Yes, it's free. And then if you're not free, if you want me to ask them for any student discount, I'll definitely help you get that if needed. Ordinary Objects is another great tool. This is good for like cross-platform and Apple Vision Pro and other devices as well. Scenery is dedicatedly made for Apple Vision Pro. So it's a pretty good tool for you to like, design, and it's very Apple native focused. So you can also use that on mobile or like Mac app or on the Vision Pro, and I feel like it's one of the best storytelling tool out there. This is the link for the Spline Mirror. So if you want to learn about Spline Mirror, you can check out. So I would highly recommend learn one 3D modeling tool. Spline or Blender is good enough. Midjourney, you guys know about it. Image generation, and Runway ML is for video generation. And then I also have ShiftUI for designers resource that I have created a video series which you can look at, and then Figma UI kit to designing the interface. So those are all the resources. And then if you all want to connect with me, you all can connect with me on LinkedIn. I share a lot about AI lately. And then if you all want to speak about spatial computing, or if you're designing for Apple Vision Pro and you want me to take a look at it for my suggestion, happy to share my insights with you all. We'll take up some questions, and I already see a lot of questions here. I'm going to answer them, but feel free to share questions that you have. Yeah. Okay. So let's,
right.
yeah.
I can pull some up. First one. What are some core differences in designing a VisionOS app versus a regular iOS app? Do you use Blender in any way for designing in VisionOS?
Yes, so I think to break that into two parts, designing for VisionOS iOS. iOS you design for a 2D interface. There's no much dimension to it. But when you design for Apple Vision Pro, you're designing for spatial. So there is factor of like scale, there's factor of sound design, there's factor of immersion and everything. So you need to think through multi-dimension when you design for VisionOS, where iOS is mostly two-dimensional. But design principles are universal. It applies for physical product, digital products, vision apps, mobile. It applies to all. But to answer your question, I think you need to think through multi dimensions, multi sensors also. There's motion you need to keep in mind. So those are like the key human factor difference and ergonomics and things like that you need to keep in mind. I would recommend try out multiple experiences, get familiar with the platform, understand what it can do. That goes a long way, and you'll start designing that separately to different medium. What was the second part of the question?
Do you use Blender in any way for designing in Vision iOS?
Yes, Blender can let you do 3D assets, and 3D assets are the core part of the experience. But also, Apple has 3D models that are optimized for the spatial computing. I can include that in the resource as well. The thing is about it's good to work with like 3D artists. You can because for spatial computing, the 3D models needs to be like optimized, or else it will crash because it can't handle high polygons and stuff. But I think the Apple Vision Pro can handle it well. But I use that sometimes, even at JP Morgan, we have internal workshops, and we've been like using just to like concept the experience and see where things we can place. And Blender is like a good for that. So Blender and Spline is a good starting point, and you can import these 3D assets in your Apple Vision Pro. Yeah.
All right, I'll add the next question from DJ Soul. How do you see Vision Pro and spatial computing evolving in the next few years?
Yeah, I can't speak for what Apple is doing, but I can just like hope and predict and see based on the industry that I see how it's evolving. You can see like Meta glasses and Google's the Google's glasses, they are getting like mainstream, and more and people are just adapting to it. So I can't speak what Apple would do, and I don't know to, but my hope is the devices being more lightweight, easier to wear, and better ergonomics. And my wish list is I don't want to have three monitors here. I just want to wear my glasses and have all the five monitors I need.
That's fair.
So I think that's the future where the devices are more accessible. Yeah.
This one is kind of connected.
Mm.
So this is what direction do you see Vision Pro going in when it comes to video editing, including motion graphics and animation? So that's the specific kind of niche part to it.
Yeah, I think this I can break this question into two part. One is you has a user using your video editor in the spatial space. I know video editors, motion graphics need like multi screens. So you could leverage like different space to use Apple Vision Pro to edit your motion graphics video and stuff like that without having the bulky computers and expensive monitors. That's one part. The second part is motion plays a major role in spatial experience to guide the user. So the motion could be in the form of 3D or motion in form of 2D. Motion is and also it's important to make motion more accessible, so it's not jarring for the users, and making that platform optimized and stuff like that. So Shift UI also has modifiers for motion and stuff which can leverage while designing for VisionOS. But think of how you use motion and motion graphics to guide the users in that spatial experience and things like that. So that's like a two-part answer to that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Next one, Sophia. What inspired you to be a part of the design in Vision iOS? It's fascinating, and that the Apple version Pro can be a medium for anyone. So I'm intrigued to understand the backstory.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been in this innovation and how industry changed for like 10 years. I've been tracking everything just out of curiosity, and then I've been exploring the AR VR headset as well. But the thing about I didn't like the quality of it. As a designer, if something even is like 1 pixel off, that bothers me. So I when I tried like other devices, I didn't like the quality and the design consideration of it. And when I tried the Apple's Vision Pro, I was like, oh my god, this is like 10 years ahead. And I know like Apple has filed like 5,000 patents or something. We can fact check this on that device, and they even had to reinvent the screw of the Apple Vision Pro for it to be lightweight, and they have filed patent for the screws as well. So it's just an appreciation of how much attention to detail is gone to focus on the quality. And as a designer, I appreciate that focus on the quality and also the design consideration. And there's a lot to be done with Apple Vision Pro. I know there's a lot of like feedback the community has, but I feel like I appreciate the design details and the quality of user experience that's considered. And I don't think so any of these devices have reached this quality. Yeah, that's what it got me into it. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, next one. Hi, John. What are some of your go-to resources for learning, especially for beginners? Thanks. From Zin.
Yeah, to be honest, right now there's a gap in the industry. There's not much resources for designers, especially. Even for developers, they're still figuring out. There are YouTube channels and stuff like that. But I would say my go-to resource is to watch the Apple's developer videos. So if you go to Apple's developer, and there are like videos on how to design for VisionOS, how to uh, what are the different consideration you need to keep in mind. Those That's like the best resource. It's the library of videos and stuff. The out there is little limited. That's why I created this couple of videos and things like that. But Apple's the developer portal is the best video resource for you to get started. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Are you good for a few more? We got a lot of questions.
Yeah, I can take it.
All
We'll
right.
make this like a
All
podcast.
right,
Yeah.
fantastic. From Peace. Sorry, one second. How did you go about starting your own studio? What are some of the challenges you faced in entrepreneurship?
I think my studio I started just because like a lot of the founders who are building products needed like design guidance, and then so I formally formed that like a studio to give them consultation how to keep like user centered design as a part of product development and not just have like all engineers building it out. So that's how it started. And also I'm a very curious person. I love to experiment and wanted to build like experiment and then share this prototype. So that's how I started that studio, just to experiment. And I also do like workshops to people, so I formed that entire into like a small studio, like a safe space for me to experiment and share my learning, and help like this Bay Area, Silicon Valley community with the design. And most challenging part is I think sometimes it's like it's hard to balance with time. It takes time consuming, but I try to do it like in not um, not in a big way, but in a small way. I can do just have like a space to express my curiosity and stuff like that. Yeah, challenge. I think that's a challenge, and always you're thinking what next. The challenges are actually the most exciting part. That's part of my story. Yeah,
It's about the difficulties towards the top of the mountain, right? It's
yeah,
it's it's the story that creates it.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Next question. Um, Pleasure to meet you. Can you tell me, are there ethical considerations unique to spatial computing, such as user privacy, disorientation, or dependency that designers should be aware of? I like this question. It's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's a big part. The reason people use Apple Vision Pro compared to other devices, don't want to name them. It's because of the privacy consideration. A lot of the enterprise, their data is very important. So Apple is like leads with privacy, their experience, right? So the adaptation is high. But as a designer, I think, see, when you use your phone, the data you collect is maybe not as much as spatial. Now in spatial, you're collecting eye data, hand tracking data, and companies can do a lot with this data. It's hyper personalized data. So there's eye data, privacy, and stuff like that. I think as designers, like you definitely make it clear to the users how this data is used and are they even okay to give that data. I know Apple kind of makes it clear, do you want to share this data or not? So I think those are good consideration. And some companies might have a different philosophy. So as a designer, you need to influence of how that data is used and how we can communicate that feedback to the users and things like that. Those are the key orientation, key things to keep in mind. And having those disclosures clearly shown to the users about the privacy and stuff like that. So those things go a long way. Yeah, I think it comes from advocating and then questioning. That's the best thing you can do right now. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Next one. How do you see Vision Pro and Vision iOS influencing sectors like education, healthcare, or remote collaboration? And what role do ethical design principles play in shaping these spatial experiences?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a two-part question, so I'll take it two-part. Education is something I'm personally very excited about. My master's thesis for 1 year, I did healthcare education because imagine just reading a book with flat, diagrams and not able to understanding it and doing mistakes in the clinical setting, or imagine like a mechanical engineer understanding the diagram through a 2D screen is so hard, where you can actually visualize that in spatial. It's a drastic difference in experience. So I think we are heading more towards experiential based learning, and that's has high retention and more value to people. And when I was younger, right, in school, the best thing I remember is like watching movies with my friends in a classroom setting, where we learned through immersive media rather than memorizing through books. So I think people are already using devices to show like solar system and the body anatomy and stuff like that. So it's revolutionizing education for sure. The biggest challenge right now is adaptation in terms like of the product, the cost, or like the hygiene of the devices and stuff. Especially when you're in healthcare, you can't like transfer device one person to another.
Mm.
But I think when the glass, the form factor becomes smaller, the adaptation will skyrocket. Right now the adaptation is lower, but here's the thing, like I feel like sometimes in the AR VR space, people feel, oh, this needs to be applied to everything. It don't have to. It has a very specific vertical use case. You solve that, and then you don't have to live with it. You don't have to wear it all the time and wear. So if it helps me visualize something, it's a tool, right? I'll visualize, then keep it on the side, and I'm done with it. So solving those vertical use case is more important. In
Mhm.
terms of like ethical principles, yeah, I think the big part is data, because you are collecting eye data, body gestures and stuff like that, making it clear how it is used. And I think with the AI also, even like AI, when you use AI models and stuff, people are advocating more for like local LLMs, so that the data remains on device instead of being served with the company and stuff like that. Those are some data privacy and things to keep in mind. I think ethics is a big topic, and there are ethical experts who have done their doctorate and everything. Those are the right people to speak with. But I think I personally just think about how data is used here.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm just going to do a couple more and then we're going to let you go. So, from Shell, what's a good mini portfolio project that one can do to learn and showcase spatial computing?
Yeah, I would pick an industry or a space where you are most excited about. And then don't start with spatial computing, start with understanding the problem and why that problem is not solved, and make a judgment if spatial computing can solve a problem or not. But if you lead with spatial computing, then like you are having a solution to the problem that does not exist, and then there's no adaptation to it. So I think for your portfolio, look for a space. Like I was excited about health education, so I picked that space. So see space you're excited. Some are excited about automotive, some are like music. I know my friend made Paolo made an Vision Pro app. It's about the church and the choir. So look at the space where you're excited about, and then do it with collaboration. I think what makes a good portfolio project is showing that collaboration, how you led it, not just like you build it by yourself, and bring people in from different discipline, bring people from non-technical space to who have the subject matter expertise about something like music, right? So bring those people in and create that project, and then share your journey on social media and LinkedIn and stuff, and you'll start connecting with the people. So I think that would be a great project for your portfolio. And if you find a company that would benefit from it or will give you some space to do it, I think that will be good for your portfolio as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Next one. Hi, John. Thank you for the beautiful presentation. How does this concept differ from existing virtual reality, VR, or augmented reality technologies currently?
Yeah, I think the Apple Vision Pro lets you blend between completely immersive media. So if you scroll it, it blends and create completely virtual. And if you like to, you can turn off that and make it like semi-immersive. So it make like mixed reality kind of a experience. I don't think so. It's like you. It's like differs from one thing to another. It's more of like at that context, what type of experience is helpful. Sometimes we want to watch spatial pictures and videos in Vision Pro. So we would like first look at it in like mixed reality, and now I want to immerse in that story. Then I will switch to a virtual reality. So I think before 5-6 years back, I think people kind of had that like, oh, this is a mixed reality device, this is a virtual reality device and stuff. But now it's like blending. So I would think of it like don't have to differentiate. But I think AR is like usually associated with like the mobile, like Pokemon Go, like a game and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So right now the AR has higher adaptation compared to the VR because most people have the devices now that can handle. So like the shopping, navigation, those are becoming like very popular and stuff like that. But I think in the future the glasses will definitely gonna blend both, where you can immerse completely in a new environment and also look at the road on the New York and have like arrows letting you walk. When I went to New York, navigating the small streets was very hard, so I
Yeah.
use augmented reality to navigate it. So yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah, that's a good example. Okay, last question. Thank you so much, chat, for asking so many great questions. I hope that most of them got answered throughout the presentation and the couple questions that we just went through. This last question I think is a good one to end on. What is your favorite part of your job?
Oh my god, that's a hard
I
one.
imagined it would be.
Okay, I work in a financial company. I think it definitely comes with a whole set of new challenges, but also exciting opportunity. So my favorite part about working there is like I found out there's a AR VR division that lets you work on your own projects. So I was able to come up with my own spatial computing product. I can't tell more because still very early, but I was able to find that opportunity and come up with my own product, which they're like I'm getting support to like further develop and stuff like that. So having the autonomy and to kind of able to work on spatial computing in like a financial company, that's very rare. So I really enjoy that part of having that experience to work there. And then I think having people who are very enthusiastic about the future and innovation and being surrounded by the people. I think it's the people that makes it most fun, and just being around people with that enthusiasm and energy is my best part here.
100%. It's definitely the people that make it better. All right. Thank you so much for such a cool presentation. I know that we're just touching the tip of the iceberg, but it was so cool to hear about your incredible this incredible journey into the future of design and user experience with Vision iOS. Vision OS. This has been truly enlightening and has definitely sparked our imagination. Um, and thank you, chat, for joining us on this for this fantastic workshop, Designing VisionOS Apps for Vision Pro. We hope this session has given you a glimpse into the exciting possibilities of spatial computing and perhaps inspired you to explore this new dimension of design. Um, we have another incredible workshop coming up next week, same time, same place. As we continue our thrilling journey into the Spatial-verse, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you found it informative. Take care, and let's continue to innovate, explore the boundless potential of tech. Don't forget to give John a follow, maybe LinkedIn, reach out. He's a fantastic guy, and have a fantastic night. Take care, everybody.